For decades, management theory relied on a persistent myth, the idea that effective leadership was an innate personality trait, or a fixed set of behaviors that worked in every environment. This is the classic Blake and Mouton leadership grid, mapping operational style onto two axes, production and people. Managers targeted position 9-9, maximum dedication to both. But maintaining this posture is impossible. Real-world variables like supply crises immediately throw this rigid framework out of balance. Purely behavioral models fail because they ignore the specific context of the leader's work. To manage effectively, we have to look past the leader's personality and start diagnosing the environment. Contingency theory provides a solution to this problem. It operates on the principle that there is no universal right way to lead. Effectiveness is entirely dependent on variable, contingent factors that change with every project. Instead of relying on intuition or a static identity, modern management requires a dynamic calibration. It treats leadership as a set of environmental variables to be solved. To find the optimal approach, a professional manager must evaluate their immediate context across three distinct diagnostic frameworks. We are going to analyze these exact frameworks: Fiedler's model for the macro environment, Vroom-Yetton's decision styles for processes, and situational leadership for team readiness. True leadership is an algorithmic process. It is the discipline of diagnosing your constraints and matching your behavior to organizational reality. We begin with the macro environment. Fred Fiedler's contingency model argues that a workgroup's success relies on matching a leader's style to the specific favorability of the situation they inherit. Fiedler calculates this environmental favorability using three specific variables: leader-member relations, task structure, and the leader's inherent power position. Consider a highly favorable environment. Relations with the team are excellent, the task is strictly structured, and the leader possesses strong organizational authority. Now consider the exact opposite, a highly unfavorable environment. The team is fractured, the task is ambiguous, and institutional power is weak. The operational output of Fiedler's model is specific. In both of these extreme states, the mathematically optimal response is a highly structured, task-oriented, and psychologically distant leadership style. The model shifts when we look at a moderately favorable environment, where variables are mixed, power is shifting, or tasks are only semi-structured. Only in this middle, moderate state is a supportive, participative, and psychologically close style the most effective choice. Fiedler's model proves that a manager must flip their operational style based entirely on the structural power and group relations of the environment they are currently in. While Fiedler maps the broader environment, the Vroom-Yetton model examines the specific daily mechanics of making individual decisions. This is the Vroom-Yetton decision tree. It functions as a logical algorithm designed to remove guesswork from the management process. The model generates a spectrum of decision styles. They range from autocratic, A1 and A2, where the leader decides entirely alone, to consultative, which gathers input, and collaborative, G2, which requires group consensus. You arrive at the optimal style by answering a series of binary variables regarding the importance of decision quality, the necessity of team commitment, and the availability of information. Let's test the model against a real-world supply chain challenge, such as introducing a massive cost reduction initiative across an organization. Returning to the tree, we hit the first logical gates. Is the quality of this cost reduction decision important? Yes. Do you have enough information to make it on your own? No. Next, we evaluate the commitment variables. Is team commitment important to the execution? Yes. If you made the decision alone, would the team support it? No. Following the constraints of these variables forces us down a specific path. The algorithm yields a collaborative G2 or high-level consultative C2 style. The Vroom-Yetton model identifies consultative leadership as a structural requirement, a calculated necessity for situations where information is fragmented and execution depends on group buy-in. Our final contingency framework removes the focus from the environment and specific decisions, placing it entirely on the followers. This diagram represents the Hersey-Blanchard situational leadership model. It modulates leadership behavior across a bell curve, dictating how a manager must act based on the maturity of their team. On the right side, we have the follower readiness scale, establishing a spectrum starting from low readiness, where team members are unable and unwilling, progressing up to high readiness, where they are fully able and willing. If you are managing a new or unskilled team at the R1 level, they require highly directive, task-focused behavior with minimal relational support. The model defines this quadrant as telling. As the team reaches moderate readiness levels at R2 and R3, they gain ability but often struggle with confidence or commitment. To maintain effectiveness, the leader must move their behavior along the curve, shifting from selling the tasks to participating alongside the team. Finally, when a team reaches high maturity at R4, the leader must actively strip away both task direction and relational support, arriving at a stance of complete delegating. Under situational leadership, maintaining a single, consistent leadership style over time harms the team's development. A professional leader must systematically retreat as the team's competence grows. When we synthesize these models, leadership becomes a performance art built on precise analytical mechanics. Fiedler provides our first domain, diagnosing the baseline power structure and environmental favorability. Vroom-Yetton provides the second, controlling logic and team involvement required for daily decisions. And situational leadership provides the third, dictating the exact level of interpersonal engagement needed based on the maturity of your followers. Suppose you are tasked with resolving severe stakeholder conflicts that threaten to halt a supply chain. To overcome that crisis, a professional manager must move beyond their default personality. Instead, they must dynamically evaluate the problem across all three of these axes simultaneously to find the correct operational response. Leadership is the rigorous, objective discipline of diagnosing context and executing the mathematically correct structural response.